Graduating in 1975 meant you survived gas lines, polyester, and Nixon, with your bangs still feathered and your 8-tracks barely holding on. Let's rewind to the fads, fights, and flawless chaos that made our senior year unforgettable. Number 1. Jaws made everyone afraid of pools. In June 1975, Jaws burst onto the scene and didn't just scare beachgoers, it scared everyone with a body of water bigger than a bathtub. The movie was all anyone could talk about that summer. Teens lined up around the block, popcorn in hand, thinking they were tough. 10 minutes later, they were clutching their armrests and swearing they saw fins in the deep end at the YMCA. That iconic score, just 2 notes, made a generation second-guess everything from lakes to garden hoses. And let's be honest, even kiddie pools felt a little sketchy after you watched that movie. Number 2. Tab Cola and the Rise of the Skinny Can Girl.
When you can't be with him, be in his mind. Be a mind sticker with a shape he can't forget.
There was Coke, there was Pepsi, and then there was Tab, the drink that practically required you to wear hip-hugger cords and worry about your figure. Tab wasn't just a diet soda, it was a teenage rite of passage. You didn't even have to like the taste. You drank it to show you were paying attention. If you had a Tab in your hand at lunch, it meant you read 17, knew what Love's Baby Soft was, and probably had a curling iron in your bathroom drawer. Number 3. Mood rings, pet rocks, and a whole lot of nonsense.
You are about to witness the most amazing man-made jewelry ever created. The original multicolor mood ring. This is the ring that senses your deepest feelings.
In 1975, 2 of the biggest teen crazes were, essentially, a ring and a rock. Mood rings landed like an emotional science experiment. 1 minute it was blue, calm. The next, black, panic. Teens stared at their fingers like the ring was about to predict a breakup, and maybe it did, if you stared hard enough. Then came pet rocks. A box, a rock, a care manual, that's it. You didn't feed it, didn't walk it, and it didn't love you back. And somehow, that made it perfect. They arrived in time for Christmas '75, which meant every teen with a sense of humor, or a little sibling, ended up with one. Between these 2 fads, we had the emotional depth of a psychic and the companionship of gravel. It was beautiful. Number 4. Feathered hair and Farrah everything.
I know. This month I'm that dizzy blonde from Charlie's Angels. You know her name? Farrah something.
Fawcett.
Right. I knew it had something to do with being a drip.
There were hairstyles, and then there was Farrah. Every girl who could wield a blow dryer tried to recreate her feathered flip. It didn't matter if your hair was straight, wavy, or somewhere in between. It was getting teased and sprayed like your social life depended on it, and it kind of did. That hair said, I know what I'm doing. Whether you were at the roller rink or just trying to get your yearbook photo right, the goal was clear: channel Farrah, or at least get in the ballpark. Number 5. Platform sandals and cork wedges. You couldn't swing a macrame purse in 1975 without hitting a girl in cork wedge sandals. The taller the shoe, the better the vibe. Platforms made a statement, and that statement was, I might fall over, but I'll look good doing it. They paired perfectly with flared jeans, gauchos, or mini dresses. You'd get blisters just looking at them, but you wore them anyway. Because in 1975, shoes weren't just about comfort. They were about showing the world you had style, and maybe an extra 2 inches of height. Before you hop in the comments and reconnect with your old crew, do me a quick favor. If this isn't your first trip down memory lane with me, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It helps more than you know. And if you're on Facebook, swing by there too. Thanks. Number 6. The smell of 1975.
There's one person nobody can resist, and that's a baby. So love made Baby Soft, with the innocent scent of a cuddly, clean baby.
There's a reason certain scents stick with you. And for teen girls in 1975, perfume was practically part of the dress code. It might have started with lip smackers, those jumbo tubes in flavors like watermelon, bubblegum, or the Holy Grail, Dr. Pepper. It wasn't just lip balm, it was your personality in a twist-off cap. Then came Love's Baby Soft, powdery, pink, and everywhere. The magazines called it innocent and irresistible, and most girls believed them. For a while, that soft blue bottle was all you needed. But tastes changed. By senior year, a lot of girls traded in the baby powder for something a little more grown up. Maybe a bottle of Charlie or something French they spotted at the drugstore perfume counter. Because figuring out your scent was just another part of figuring out who you were becoming. Number 7. High school fashion. Polyester, denim, and zero breathability. Let's talk about the fabric of our lives, literally. Polyester ruled the halls. It didn't breathe. It didn't stretch. But it came in every color and looked amazing under a disco ball. Wrap dresses clung in all the right places. Ditto jeans had seams that practically sculpted you. And gauchos? Don't even get me started. Mid-calf wide leg wonders, usually in denim or ultra suede, worn with tall boots and a smug smile. You weren't hitting Studio 54 in them, but you were turning heads in the hallway. Number 8. SNL, Kotter, and the rise of TV that got teens.
Well, that's how the hydraulic drill works. Now that you got the technical stuff under your belt, I think it's time you got some moxie.
October 11th, 1975. Saturday Night Live aired for the first time, and teens finally had a sketch show that spoke their language. Weird, fast, and totally unfiltered. It wasn't for your parents, it was for you. You stayed up late, laughed at jokes you didn't fully get, and repeated them anyway on Monday. And then there was Welcome Back, Kotter. It had everything. Funny teacher, misfit students, and John Travolta as Vinnie Barbarino. Girls swooned. Guys quoted him. You could walk down the hall and hear what, where, on repeat, and nothing said fall like the TV Guide fall preview issue. Everyone grabbed a copy to see what was getting canceled, what was coming back, and who was guest starring where. TV in 1975 was a cultural bulletin board, and everyone checked it. Number 9. 8 tracks, Scotch tape, and cruising culture.
Does your tape collection look like this? Then you need a K-Tel tape selector. With special attachments, it fits conveniently in your car.
Every car stereo in 1975 had one thing in common: the almighty 8-track. Not because it worked well, it didn't, but because it was what we had. You'd load in your favorite tape, maybe Fleetwood Mac, ABBA, or maybe a little Aerosmith if you were feeling bold. And pray it didn't switch tracks mid-chorus. Spoiler, it always did. And when that tape inevitably got chewed up, Scotch tape, a pencil, and about 15 minutes of delicate surgery. We were engineers when it came to rescuing music. But the best part wasn't the music, it was the cruising. You'd pile into a friend's car, roll down the windows, and just drive. Around the mall, past the arcade, maybe to the A&W. The point wasn't the destination, it was the soundtrack. Number 10. Graduation hit different in 75.
Join Morley Safer and me and our new colleague Dan Rather when 60 Minutes returns at a new time.
By the time the class of 75 turned their tassels, something in the air had shifted. The war that had loomed over our entire childhoods was over. For the first time in years, we weren't graduating into a draft. We were stepping into possibility. There was still uncertainty, sure, but also a sense of lightness. Like maybe this generation could breathe a little deeper, dream a little bigger, and dance without looking over its shoulder. The world wasn't perfect, but it felt open. And that final bell didn't just mark the end of high school, it marked the beginning of something new. The class of 75 walked out the door ready for it. Bonus, the Bicentennial buzz already started. You couldn't swing a baton without someone mentioning 200 years of freedom. For the class of 75, it was like we were prepping to hand off the baton to the next wave of teens who'd graduate in a country suddenly obsessed with its own birthday. We didn't mind. It felt like we were the last class from the old world, and the first ones ready for the next. If you graduated in 1975, you got a front row seat to one of the weirdest, most wonderful moments in American teen life. You lived through war and Watergate, disco and denim. You danced to ABBA in a school gym and dared to wear gauchos in public. You smelled like Bonnie Bell and probably still have a scar from Dr. Scholl's wooden sandals. You grew up in a time when phones had cords, music came in plastic bricks, and every great idea was taped to a locker with Scotch tape and hope. So here's to you, class of 75. You made it. You were wild, wonderful, and just weird enough to be unforgettable. Leave a comment with your favorite memory. And if you know someone who graduated in 75, send this their way. Let's get the whole class back together, right here in the comments.